You do not need more curriculum. You don't need better worksheets. You don't need a sparklier lesson planner. You don't even need more unit studies. Very likely, you are standing in a space that has enough material for you to educate your kids all the way through high school. I know shiny object syndrome is real. And I think homeschool moms are the worst, because the moment that our curriculum and our lesson planners kind of slap us in the face because they mock us. They were supposed to work. They were supposed to help us educate our kids, but instead they're building this great divide. And once that happens, we start looking around on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, our next door neighbors, our co-op. We start looking for better curriculum. I want you to know there's no such thing. Before I say anything else, if you comment crash course, my little fairy Lola will send you a link to an 18-minute crash course. It's a mini lesson thing that will give you an idea of the types of things that really matter in homeschool. I need you to know with crystal clear clarity, that was hard to say. With crystal clear clarity, once your kids know how to read, the world is your oyster. You can teach them anything. The people from the past that were so eloquent with their words and their writing were educated from a shelf of books, maybe 10 books total, if they were lucky, 20. I'm guessing in your home you have more than 20 books. That means you have so many vocabulary pools to pull from, so many topics of things that you could learn about with your kids. But more than that, you have the internet. Can you imagine the depth of learning that your kids have at their fingertips simply because you have access to the internet? You do not need more curriculum. You just don't. You do not need unit studies. You just don't. Unless they work for you, right? Don't let anybody tell you these are the 12 things that your kids need to know by the time they graduate high school. How ridiculous is that? You are 100% different than me. Each one of my 5 sons, completely and totally unique. Completely. Like, so much so that the moment something worked for one, I was in trouble because I knew that it wasn't going to work for the other 4, which meant I was always reinventing the wheel. It's going to be the same for you in your home. And the challenge is that if you try to squeeze your kids through a particular set of curriculum or worksheets or unit studies or whatever, and if it doesn't hit them in their area of interest, you risk losing them. They may not love to learn anymore. They may suddenly decide that reading is not their thing. They may suddenly declare that they will never write again or create. They may stumble in mathematics or any of the subjects. But it's not because you are not an excellent teacher. It is not because you're not supposed to homeschool. It's because the materials don't do anything for them. They don't interest them. They don't hold their attention. Instead, they just chain them to a table or a desk when they would rather fill in the blank, practice their guitar, play the piano, practice ballet, plant a garden, feed and raise chickens, learn how to build a car engine in your garage, or any of the countless things that your kids are interested in. You don't need more curriculum. I can't shout it loud enough. You don't need more lesson plans. It doesn't mean that you don't use those things, but you want to be very careful in your choices with what you put in front of your kids, because remember the goal. By the time your kids graduate high school, you want them to still be kind. You want them to be disciplined, diligent, responsible. You want them to love to learn. They should have a very, very strong grasp on their basic math facts, the stuff that they're going to need. Unless they're going to grow up to be mathematicians, they really don't need more than that. You want them to fall in love with reading for the sake of story itself. And you want them to become excellent communicators, both in written form and in oral form. But you have enough stuff around you to do that. Just in this room alone, I am standing. Oh, it's a mess. Are you ready? Okay, ready? Dun, 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 dun. There's my clutter spot. That ironing board, that's my fancy desk. Because I have everything all together, right? Like all homeschool moms. Just in this room alone, there are a minimum of 50 books. A minimum. And they vary from forms of art to mathematics and writing, and then various topics. If I were to walk through my home, there are no less than, because my husband is a book collector, no less than 3,000 books in this home. And we have books on everything, from dog training, how to create homesteads, quilting, mechanics. We have volumes of Spurgeon. We have all of the C.S. Lewis books. We have the entire G.A. Henty collection, historical fiction written for young men. We have everything. I don't need any other material in order to teach my kids. Now, granted, my kids are now older. My youngest is now 18. But I'm telling you that you don't need more stuff. And you need to not be listening to people that tell you that you need more stuff. Just because your kid's in second grade does not mean that you need to buy curriculum next year that says third grade on it. That is marketing from somebody that sells curriculum. Now, do I sell stuff? Absolutely, because I have an online business, and I've even created hundreds, actually almost 500 learning activities. Math, reading, writing, science, history, etc. I made it all while my kids were growing up, learning how to use this fancy computer and technology. But if you're listening to people that are saying, you need to follow this program, you need to be this type of a homeschooler, you need to try this curriculum, do that curriculum, I'm going to tell you to turn the volume down. Instead, you need people that are breathing into you that say things like, you need to build stronger connections with your kids so that when they leave home, they want to come back and visit you on major occasions. You want an invitation to their wedding, so you invest in their hearts right now. You want to make sure that they have impeccable character, so make sure that that is the primary goal of your day, to focus on the inside out. You want to make sure that whoever you're listening to is telling you the truth. You don't need more curriculum. You are the perfect person to coordinate your child's education. Perfect. And I use the word coordinate because you may need help along the way. I collect mathematicians. I have for years, because I can do math very well up until 5th grade. And at that point, I don't have the ability to teach it in a way that will not make my boys cry. Because we learn differently. So at that point, I lean heavily on people that know math and can teach it better than I can. So you want to build a collection of experts in your corner that you can pattern your footsteps after. You want them to be breathing into you, letting you know it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they haven't mastered every written vocabulary list that your fancy schmancy curriculum tells you that they need to master. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when your kids learn to walk. Doesn't matter when they learn to talk. Doesn't matter when they learn to read. It matters that they learn to walk, that they learn to talk, and that they don't just learn to read, but they fall in love with reading. Make sure you're choosing who you're talking to. Make sure you're choosing who you listen to. Make sure that they are breathing encouragement over you in a way that when you're done, you feel empowered. You feel strengthened. You feel ready to push your curriculum aside and go on a hike just for the sake of building your relationships with your kids. The best decision we ever made was when our youngest was in 8th or 9th grade, I forget, 8th or 9th grade, and we pushed curriculum aside, and I just took him on a walk every single day. And we spent 2 hours walking and talking, walking and talking, walking and talking. At that critical age, 8th grade, 9th grade, when everything was confusing for him. And it was such a gift because we built the most incredible connections that now that he's 18 and he's away at university, there's nothing there. Our relationship is rock solid. So make sure that you don't bite all the dangly carrots. Curriculum's fun. One of the most dangerous places there's two very dangerous places for homeschool moms specifically. Bookstores. Leave your wallet in your car and don't have iPay on your phone. So bookstores and curriculum fairs. Oh, the curriculum looks so hopeful and shiny and brand new, wrapped in cellophane, and it looks like it's exactly what your kids need, but it's not. If you want to see what your kids need, walk right now into the bathroom and look in the mirror. They need you. They need to know that you're present. They need to be seen. If you're married, they need to know that you love your spouse and that your family is the most important connection network on the planet. Without that, they can't have the confidence, or their confidence will be disabled in a way that will cause them to stumble in ways that you cannot imagine when they're only 7, 9, 11, 12, 16. They need you. They need you to listen. They need you to put down your phone and be present. They need you to care. I went on a walk with my 20-year-old today, and he's in the process of documenting the childhood game that he and 4 of his brothers would play for hours in the backyard. It is a fantastic tale of adventure and good versus evil, and it is a deep story. And we went on a 4-mile walk today, and as we got going, he pulled out of his pocket his list of things that he wanted to share with me about the story. And I can tell you that I don't understand this story 100%. But he talked and I listened and I asked questions and he felt seen. And there is nothing more important than that, because that will encourage him to keep pressing forward. It will help him to feel like what the things and ideas in his mind are worth sharing. They're worth enjoying, that he's worth enjoying, right? That's what your kids need from you. They don't need page 47. Oh, page 47 keeps them busy for a minute, and it gives you an opportunity to show the difference between a sharpened pencil and a dull pencil. It might even give them an opportunity to practice handwriting or regurgitating answers. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. And that's hard to understand. I had to get all the way through homeschooling before I could speak that with clarity over you. It doesn't matter. What matters is that when they bump into trouble, that they know it's okay to ask for help. And that they know with certainty that somewhere out there is an expert in exactly what it is they're struggling with. And if they can just get in front of that expert, their biggest issue will be getting that person to stop talking. Because when you're in front of somebody that loves chickens and you ask them a question about chickens, when you look at your watch or your iPhone an hour goes by and they're still talking about chickens. So as long as your kids know how to be an expert help seeker, what can't they learn? They love to read. They know how to read. They know their basic math, and they're teachable. And they know how to ask for help when they get stuck. They know that the buck doesn't just stop with you. They know that there are other people out there that can help them. Make sure that who you are listening to are saying things like that, to invest in your relationships, to build concrete connections with your kids, to read over your kids and listen to stories until they no longer live with you. Just because they can read, don't think that your job is done. You need to marinate them with story and challenge them with vocabulary and ideas that are a little bit above their comprehension level so that you pull them up with it. Make sure that you're rubbing shoulders with people that think differently than you so that you can model what it looks like to have empathy and compassion and grace and patience with people that are different, because it's so important. Each and every one of us are completely and totally different. We're uniquely and wonderfully made. And we have this beautiful opportunity to model what that looks like for our children. So make sure you are out and about in the community. You're loving on people. You're serving people in plain sight without tooting your own horn. It's one of those crazy balancing acts that you want to model what selflessness looks like without pointing yourself in an arrogant way, saying, look at me. That's not what you're doing. You're just modeling it for your kids. That's my big thought. You have enough under your roof right now to educate your kids all the way through high school, all the way, maybe even into college. You should use different materials and sources to broaden their horizons, to expose them to new and amazing ideas, and to deepen their knowledge in different topics. But there really isn't a set of this is what they need to know. And I wish that I could speak that over every homeschooler on the planet specifically. If I was politically minded, I might even decide that, wow, I wish I could talk to somebody that was in office so that we could get these messages out to the other kids too. But instead, I let my heart just speak to you, homeschool mom, homeschool dad, whoever you are. Know that you are enough. You have enough material. And make sure you surround yourself with people that are speaking that over you. There's so much noise out there. I opened up my inbox this morning and there were so many classes and curriculums and things that I could buy for. It feels good, right? Like there's so many choices out there. And I love school supplies. I love worksheets so much. I've made them since I was 7. I used to make them as gifts for my little sisters. I love that stuff. Sharpened pencils. Oh, the Carl 5 pencil sharpener. Oh, I love that thing. My boys, not so much. They don't need that stuff, and your kids don't need that stuff. So make sure that you find people that are speaking that truth over you. If you need any kind of help with homeschool, just comment crash course below, because that'll connect you to my 18-minute homeschool crash course, and then it'll just get you access to all kinds of stuff from me. But that's it. Don't buy the lie. You don't need a bunch of stuff. You just don't. You have everything you need. You have everything you need. You have everything you need. Everything else is cherry on top. But if you don't exercise self-control, you will crush yourself, crush your kids, and destroy the love of learning because you'll bury it under a whole bunch of busy work. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Crash course. Hope to see you soon.